people, it is time once again for a sketchbook tour. So this is the third sketchbook tour I've done on my channel, and the third sketchbook I have completed since getting back into sketchbooks last year. So I finished this one in about 4 months, I think. I started this one right at the beginning of July, and then I finished it at the tail end of October while I was at Lightbox Expo. It's got a lot of autobiographical comics because I've kind of gotten back into the swing of doing those. It's got a lot of explorations for the characters from my story Aza Mirage that I'm currently working on. So if you're not familiar and you want to have a little bit of a primer on a lot of what you're going to see in the sketchbook, I would recommend watching my Aza Mirage primer video. I'll leave a link to it up in the thingy up here and also down in the description. If you're already familiar or you just don't care, then we shall move onward. So let's get started. First of all, most of the stickers on the cover of this one are mine. 1, 2, 3. These are all stickers from my shop. This one I got from someone at a little art market event that I sold out. I unfortunately didn't get their username and it's not anywhere on the sticker. But if this is yours, I'll put a link in the description. I don't remember what your username was, I'm sorry. But it's cute, it's a little rainbow D20, I like it. So let's get into it. So yeah, we have our start is July 2025, our end is October 2025. This is a little bit of a lie though, because these first 2 pages, I actually did way back in, I think January when I first got this sketchbook. So these are some Lapis and Laz little doodles that I was just doing to test the water, see if I liked this paper, back when I first got this sketchbook. But right after I got this one and I drew these pages, I was like, I can't let myself get attached to this sketchbook yet. I still have so many left that are unfinished. So I wanted to go back and finish those before starting this one. So there is a time skip of about 6 months between these pages and the next time that I actually started using this sketchbook. So this was all drawn at this little art market event that I went to that was, the sales were pretty slow and it was freezing cold, and so I drew this little drawing. These are some thumbnails for the July Mail Club print that was Greek mythology themed. I was having a hell of a time figuring out how to draw it. You can see I usually don't have to go through this many thumbnails, but my god. And then we have some Vesper doodles here. If you don't know who she is, I'll leave a link to the video where I introduced her. She's my little pigtail tiefling baby. Then over here, I was contemplating some sticker sheets, some stuff for my little mascot Star Carmine. I was considering how to maybe add her to my convention display and just doing some doodles of, some of these would eventually become stickers in my sticker sheets. These, I was testing some different mechanical pencils that I have. I was testing some markers. I was doing a lot of those. I don't end up using the mechanical pencils a whole lot, but I like having them around. Alright, so if you guys watched my world building video and you remember seeing those 3 characters, Vesper, Cameron, and Senna, this was the sketchbook where I originally started concepting them. So this was the very first page of doodles for Cameron. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out their vibe. They're a little gloomy little guy. I was thinking about their interactions with Vesper and kind of what their deal would be. These are some brainstorming sessions for a character who I think I'm gonna stick with the name Vostra for now. If you've read some of the snippets of Aza Mirage that I have posted on Patreon, for free, by the way, some of those are up there, you have a general idea of who this character is. I don't know if this will be your final iteration. I'm still exploring her character a bit, but you'll see her scattered throughout. Fastball special. This is just some Laz and some Daves. I don't know. I thought it would be funny if Laz just threw Dave like softball. I don't know. And so you're gonna see a lot of this in the sketchbook, which is just me thinking about ways that characters would interact, things that they would say over the course of the story, just brainstorming scenes for things that are going to happen in Aza Mirage. This was a concept of Storm doing some stuff. I'll just let you read it. You can pause to read that if you want. Just yapping about the magic system, being a dork. And then I was just okay, so we have all the Laz side characters and we have all the Lapis side characters, but I haven't really drawn them interacting too much because I'm not sure how much they really will in the story itself. But I just really wanted to draw Storm and Leon together. I don't know if they'd get along. I think that Leon's a little bit of a troll and Storm does not take kindly. And I thought it was funny. Just this is This is their relationship in a nutshell. And then we have a couple more storms, alas. So Storm is a changeling. In universe, they're called mirages. They're basically shapeshifters, but they cannot change their clothes via shapeshifting. It's not like, oh god, what's the shapeshifter from X-Men who can change the outfits as well? In universe, these guys can't do that. So basically, occasionally, you'd get Storm wearing Zephyr's outfit, and this is the face of regret of, God, why did I make my alter ego stage presence a slut? With the open shirt. I had that concept in my head and I wanted to draw it. This was the page where I realized, hey, what if I gave Cameron horns and then just everything just spiraled into place? So you'll get a lot of doodles of them from these next couple of pages, just some little ideas of what their personality would be like, some itty bitty little comics. Again, just some explorations. There's a little bit of glitter on this page, but I'm not sure how well you can see it. This is some Cameron and Vesper, just them having little conversations. They're cute babies, they're best friends. I love them very much, and I think that they're very cute. And I just want them to be bestest buddies forever. Hi, Zephyr! I realized it had been a while since I'd actually properly drawn my guy, and so I have a page of Zephyrs here, and then we have a little Storm and Lapis interaction. This will make sense, I think, if you have seen my world building video, but if not, it's just some sillies. I feel like this is probably gonna be canon. I think the conversation's too funny to get rid of. I don't know, we'll see. Around this point, I really wanted to try and get a little bit better with my, what's the word I'm looking for? Like line confidence. I wanted to try and get better at drawing in pen without having a sketch underneath. And so I doodled these with one of my fountain pens just to see what I could do. Because it's like, I draw these characters so much, I feel like I should be able to draw them reasonably well without an under sketch. Some of the proportions are a little bit messed up. Some of them just are kind of bad, but I found these acceptable. I think this was okay. And then this I drew the day that Milo discovered that she can stick her little paws in the toilet. She is a little nightmare child, and she deserves to be publicly shamed for sticking her paws in the toilet. Then we have a little lapis doodle down here. We have some more Zephyrs. This was around the time that I was just like, I have access to glittery gel pens, and Lord knows I'm going to use them. I think I drew these at like a cafe that I went to, and the cafe just had like the perfect lighting. They made all the glitter gel pens show up so stupid well. It was like the overhead fluorescent headlights. And I was just like, I want to put glitter on every single page. And so I drew a bunch of glittery pages. The crystal wings and stuff was a concept for some additional world building things I was working on that I haven't really solidified yet, so I'm not going to talk about yet. We'll get there later, probably. This was some more like character concept doodles. I'm trying to think, it's like, well, what if I want characters with wings? What if I want characters with like bird stuff? And so I was just kind of exploring a little bit. This isn't an actual character, I was just kind of exploring. Rare Verity and Rodin cameo. I feel like I've been neglecting Verity and her squad ever since I started brainstorming for Aza Mirage. But I still love them. They are still here. So there's some little doodles of them being very cute. We have some more Cameron down here. This was me experimenting with what kind of their lightning powers would look like. Here's them being a dork. Static electricity's bitch. Get zippy zapped. I drew this around the time that Fields of Mysteria update came out, and they added a little angel wing cosmetic, and my character in game is Lapis, and I gave her the little angel wings, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm never taking these off. So that's what she has now. She's a baby, and she's got little angel wings. It's very cute. This is an idea for a little, like, unicorn character I have. Don't expect too much more of them. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them yet. I had an idea and I was playing with it. This is a Lapis and Laz piece that I really, really, really want to, at some point, turn into a proper print. Don't hold your breath, but I really like the concept. I also got some, like, glittery watercolor, palettes. and so I use those a little bit on this. I feel like it adds a cool texture, but as I'm looking at this page, I realize I forgot to do it on all these pieces up here, so don't even worry about that. This as a print, maybe someday, eventually. I think the concept is still cool. And then this is where I started brainstorming for Senna, my little snow leopard girly pop. And so the next several pages are a lot of me just kind of like slowly but surely figuring out her look and her personality. There's a little baby Vesper with her, just kind of brainstorming a lot of different character designs. Again, you can hear more about her in my world building video. I'll leave a link up here. I won't retread old ground, but just here's some concept sketches of her that I enjoy. Experimenting with a lot of different stuff in there. This is some more Senna. I got some washi tape, and so I sampled them down here. And this is actually the first of a couple. I started therapy this year. Da 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 da! I finally stopped procrastinating and finally did it. So this is the first of a couple little like therapy-based comics that I did. This is one where I was like, I feel like I need to talk to my therapist about this one specific thing, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain it. So I'm going to send her just like a really long email that kind of goes through everything. And when we finally talked about it in a session, one of the first things my therapist said was, yeah, so that email you sent me explained a lot. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean it explained a lot? Oh no! I just thought it was funny, so I immortalized it in the sketchbook, as one does. And then we go straight back to more Senna. I was just having fun, concepting different little snippets of her outfit, whether or not I wanted to give her a little boob window. I don't know, I think the silhouette is cute. Moving right along. Oh, here's another therapy comic. Basically what I've discovered about myself is I'm very good at figuring out what my issues, what my hangups are, what my problems are. One of the big things that made me want to start therapy is I'm good at identifying my problems and then I don't know what to do about them. And so I've likened it in the past to, I searched through my house and I found all the grenades. What the fuck do I do with these grenades now, though? And that's what therapy is like, is learning how to defuse the grenades. It's a process, but they're in a little basket for now, so that's helpful, right? I use humor to cope. Anyway, and then we kind of switch over to some Vesper designs. I was trying to think about what her actual proper night gear would be. I wanted her to look a little bit like Verity, but I also wanted her to have kind of her own style as well. I was going for something kind of between Verity and a magical girl. I said here, I love this note, a little impractical because she's romanticizing being a knight. And so, yes, like her outfit is not practical, and she will discover this very quickly. But we still love her, and we love her wanting to be a little fashion girly pop. She's very cute. Here's a small little comic of how I imagine training with Vesper and Senna started. It's just like, Vesper is starting from absolute zero, can't even catch a pole that's thrown at her. No dexterity on this little baby. And then a couple months ago, I did the Aza Mirage cast-off kind of crossover stickers, and so these were some concepts for those, some little sketches of what would eventually become Cameron's outfit. We have some more Camerons down here, just kind of doing some more exploration. I recently did that video with the Artex paint markers, and so the day I got those, I just did a little bit of practice. I want to get better at like painting landscapey things, so that's kind of where I started. I also tried doing a Verity just to see if I could, and it came out a little bit scuffed, but it's fine, we still love her anyway. Some more Vespers. I wanted to try drawing the cape with some little like sewn on wingies, and then I accidentally made them really off balance, but then I figured, no wait, what if she did it herself and this is just actually what it looks like and the wings are like two different sizes because she's not very good at sewing, and I found that was so freaking charming. I'm keeping it forever. That's canon now and it's adorable. And so we have just like a little bit of Vesper talking about it. Here she is falling asleep with her Tales of Verity book. She's so cute. I love her. I'm gonna be playing her in a campaign soon and I cannot wait. I don't know when we're starting that, probably before the end of the year, but I'm excited. And then this was San Japan weekend because somebody stole my sketchbook and drew me some Vespers. There's probably not anyone on this channel who is not familiar with Actually Raised stuff. But we got to hang out before San Japan, and we went to dinner, and we traded sketchbooks, and we drew some things, and they drew some Vespers for me. So yay, look at the baby. I love her so very much. This page I just put a bunch of heckin' stickers on because I was worried that if I drew something on the back it might bleed through. So I just sticker bombed this page. This was a couple like freebie stickers I got with some orders. A lot of these are stickers from, I'm in the Sticky Club subscription where you get a whole bunch of sticker sheets every month, and so I just took a couple and I stuck them in there just to fill this page out because a blank page was bothering me. And then we have a couple pages of San Japan doodles. I've already talked about these in my little San Japan live stream, but I'll go over them again here just for fun. So San Japan was extremely hot, and I was doing the con by myself, which meant that I was lugging like 300 pounds of nonsense into the convention and could not find the door, and it was 100 degrees out in like afternoon of downtown San Antonio. It was a nightmare. I did eventually find the entrance, and then once I got inside, it was super duper cold. It was just like, you're hot and you're cold, everything's weird. Okay, that's enough of that. But yeah, so I had an 8-foot table that was just all my stuff, and I had my little bitty window in the middle, so I called it the Fortress of Solitude. And then this happens, I swear to God, at every single convention. I'll be, at my booth trying to sell my wares, and there will be cute cosplayers across the aisle, and they never come over to my side, but I want to yell at them and tell them how cute their cosplays are, but I don't want to actually yell at them and scare them from across the aisle. But I'm just like, let me love you. I saw a lot of Uma Musume cosplayers, and I wanted to scream at them. I drew a little Teo here, because she's my baby girl. I had a hotel room all to myself, and Lord knows I did starfish across that entire king-size bed, as one would expect from my username. Anyway, and then this one, I had a freaking saga at San Japan where I accidentally left all of my chargers at home. And I had a backup phone charger in my car, and I was able to figure things out for the rest of my chargers, except the charger I needed for my spare battery pack, which I would need to survive the weekend. So early in the morning on Friday, I went on to a CVS run to try and get an extra cable because I needed like a USB micro cable to charge it. But then I got a free one from the clerk because I guess it just fell out of the box, and I was like so excited. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this cable for free. And I took it home and it didn't work. And I was like, oh God dang it. And so that was a thing that happened. Friday sales weren't great at San Japan, and so something that I carry around in my fanny pack is I've got what I call my big ass lucky coin. It's like a 1970 silver dollar. On the back of it's got an eagle on the moon, and it's 6, so I drew it. And then I drew a couple of Vespers here. This is me finally breaking even on Saturday, so I broke into my Victory almonds that my mom gave me from Trader Joe's or whatever. They were tasty. Just some more San Japan doodles. I started have you guys seen that video of the girl who spray painted a Labubu, and she's like, I have the Labubu, and just the way she says it stuck in my brain, and every time I saw someone walk by with one on their back, I would just go, Labubu in my head. And so these are just some concepts for maybe VTuber eventual like new outfits. I don't know. And then this was just some brainstorming I was doing while I was stuck at the table all day for like ribbons and sticker sheets, that sort of thing. Some more San Japan doodles. I thought for a bit that because the cable didn't work that my battery pack was busted. It wasn't. I just had the wrong kind of cable. It needed more like watt outage. I don't know. Cables are stupid, and when you're charging a battery pack, I guess it just has to have like a beefier cable. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know how that shit works. But yeah, just, more San Japan doodles. I've got some Aza Mirage doodlies up here. My favorite brush pen started running out of ink. You can kind of tell on some of these drawings. But then I was like, oh no, if my lucky pen ran out of ink, that means I get to make another Jet Pens order, which is bad for my wallet. Uh-oh. And then, so I drew some of these. I tried using my glitter highlighters here, and they don't show up super duper well. But it's cute. I kept seeing people with like the little bitty anime like character plushies on their bags, and I was like, what if I made one of lapis? Because if I had a little lapis that was about that size, I could just grab it. I could just grab it. Like, that's the perfect size for a plushie to grab. And then this is Dave of the Countertop. What is your wisdom? But I couldn't think of anything funny for him to say, so he just has no wisdom, which honestly is appropriate. And then on Sunday, June came to hang out with me at my table, so they drew me another thingy in here. This is drawn with like glitter pens, so the line art's kind of glittery, which is fun. And they also drew Lost. I don't know why they did that. June, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why have you cursed my sketchbook this way? Anyway, and then again, I was still feeling bad for neglecting the Verity Squad, so I drew some Dariuses down here. This is something. You'll learn about what that is someday. Don't even worry about it, babes. Mwah, don't even worry about it. You'll learn about that later. Back to Vesper. Back to Vesper. I went to Kinokuniya with some friends and bought like so many glitter gel pens, and so this page was me just playing with them. I was just brainstorming, trying to think of ways that she would look, because, okay, the campaign that a friend of mine is running that I'm going to be playing her in, we're going to have a prologue where all the characters are, I think, like 10 years younger. And so this was me concepting what Vesper would look like as an itty bitty bitty baby. She'd probably be like 13 or 14 in the prologue, and she blows up a building on accident and she gets arrested, and so she's like, I don't want to go to juvie, what the fuck? She's a baby. And so I was like, you know what, she's just this clueless little wannabe adventurer. What if she just like stole a bunch of just like armor from her grandparents' like storage, and none of it fits her, but she's doing her best. And I just wanted to draw it because I thought it was cute. And look at her, she's ready for an adventure. No, she's not, but it's okay, she'll get better. And then I went like 3 or 4 weeks without drawing anything for fun, which prompted this doodle. But I think at some point I was just like, I need to sit down and I need to do some sketchbooking or my brain will explode. So that's what this page was. I think I started drawing this after I had already started writing some of the Aza Mirage chapters, and I don't know where this came from, but it just sparked in my head, hey, what if Agatha and Dave were not only like really good friends, what if they just like gossiped together? And so this is canon now, is that Dave and Agatha just spill the beans. Everyone who goes to the tavern where Lapis and Agatha live, they just think that Dave is a decoration because he just sits on the counter and just doesn't say anything. But no, he's eavesdropping on everybody's shit, and then after the tavern closes, they just spill tea together, and I love this for them. I was brainstorming some Halloween drawings. I have some more Darius down here. I was once again playing with my glitter gel pens. This was the start of something that I was kind of playing around with, which is I've been doing some more like fountain pen doodles, and the fun thing about a lot of fountain pen inks is that they're not waterproof. And I dug up my old water brush pen. Hang on, let me go get it actually. So this is just a little pen. It is a little paintbrush, but it's got this reservoir up here that's filled with water. So this is basically just like a watercolor brush that you can just take on the go, and it just has water and it keeps it nice and clean. But what you can do is with fountain pens, with most fountain pen ink, it's not waterproof. So you can just scribble on with your fountain pen ink, and then you can use a water brush. You can blend the inks out. And that's very fun. That's very cool. I like doing that. That's fun for me. So you'll see a lot of this in the next couple of pages. Let me make sure that that is dry before I go flipping pages. This is the spread where you can tell that I started reading Mistborn. The way that I have just an inadvisable crush on Kelsier. It's bad, gang. It happened so fast. I'm in love with this stupid blonde man. I love him so much. If you've read the book, you understand, and if you've read the book, you also understand why. We don't have to talk about it. It's fine, but I love him. I love him. I don't know how to draw him, but he's fun. So then we have some more doodly doodles. I believe I did these when I was hanging out and doing some sketchbook stuff with a friend. think that's when I did these. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, just a lot of more Aza Mirage doodles. We've got a Vesper over here. We've got some storms. We've just got some like little scenes. The duality of man is that we have just Zephyr, who is just this very charismatic, just like very flamboyant guy, and then Storm, who is very much not, but plot twist, they're the same guy, and he's just the persona that Storm puts on when he's doing stage performances, and he's just like, God, why did I do this to myself? He has his reasons, we'll leave it at that. And so I realized I hadn't drawn Felix in a while, so I want to do some stuff with her and Laz, little babies. I was like, wait, what if Laz is also an artist? What if Laz like does a bunch of sketches of Felix and then Leon teases them about it? I don't know, I thought it was cute. We've got some more Kelsiers up here. We've got some Leons down here because it had been a bit since I drew him. Got some glitter on this page. I love glitter. I love being able to like look at a sketchbook page and there's just like shiny stuff and colors all over it. That's my favorite. These are some more fountain pen doodles. I was trying to draw without a sketch. And I used like that water brush thing on down here to kind of blend out the colors a little bit. And then I did a whole page of like lapises, just trying to draw her without a sketch. And then I like filled in the hair with the whole water brush thing. We have What If Dave Did Stand-Up Comedy. That's it. That's the end of the sentence. I like this concept. I don't know. I might bring it back. I think it's fun. This is La Creatora. This is what all of my drawings used to look like when I was in 5th grade. But honestly, like this is a better version of what those looked like. All my characters looked like tomatoes because I drew like a spiky blob for their hair and then just drew the face underneath. And I drew their faces under so super tiny. None of them had ears. This is how I drew when I was a wee baby. And I was demonstrating this for a friend. And then I just drew some more. There's some storms down here in green. What if I made Storm a marketable plushie and then grabbed him? Yes, so this was definitely around the time that I finished the first chapter of Aza Mirage because this is a scene from that. These are just like some little tidbits from there. There's some more Leons because I wanted to draw him with the purple. And I also realized that if you use highlighter on top of the fountain pens, it has kind of a similar effect to one of these. So I was playing with that a little bit, just, hanging out, testing out different materials, that sort of thing. If you have read the second Lapis chapter of Aza Mirage, you would know that she has a little shoulder bag that she carries Dave around in sometimes so he can be her little emotional support skull, and she cut a little eye hole in it so that he can see out, and I wanted to draw it because I thought it was funny. Don't worry about who these characters are, and do not get attached. That's all I'm gonna say about what's happening on this page. Anyway, we've all seen the meme going around, the most important skill you have is being a nosy bitch who wants to find out, and God, if that is not just Lapis's entire personality. Her entire personality is, she was a detective in another life. She's just so nosy, but she's not like Dave and Agatha, where she's just like constantly talking about rumors and stuff. She's just like, I want to get to the bottom of this shit. She's got amnesia. She wants to figure out who she was. Anytime she is presented with a mystery, she wants to figure it out. She's a nosy bitch who wants to find out. And then this is just also a little interaction I imagined the two of them having, and I thought it was funny. I'm bitches? Who wrote this? I love them. I don't know how much these two are actually going to interact because Zephyr basically only exists on stage, but I do think it's funny. I gotta find a way to stick some scenes in there. And then this page is called What If I Just Steal My Own OCs? So Donovan, I love this drawing of him, precious boy, was an NPC in the D&D campaign that I ran for my friends for a couple years. And I was like, you know what? I think that Leon might need a friend. So what if I, instead of coming up with a whole new character, what if I just made Donovan his friend? What if I just did that? What if I just had an excuse to bring this handsome man back into my life? And so there's just the two of them and their energy. Leon's just like a little weirdo, and Donovan's just like, okay, well. I have this joke that they kind of have like weird cousin energy, and I love that for them. And so I wanted to draw a page of the two of them interacting and sort of what their interactions would be like. Here's Leon talking about Laz. Like Laz is kind of a stray cat. They are, let's be honest. I got some new pans. So I had bought, I have some here, the Chunky Boy Stabilos. We'll say I was influenced. You know who you are. And so I got a set of these, and I do kind of like the chunky ones. The chunky ones are fun. However, the problem I was having with the chunky ones is that they're so chunky, I have a hard time fitting them into the stationery bag that I use as like my travel bag when I go out to meetups and stuff. So I bought another set of, it's the same ink, it's from the same brand, but they're like more standard highlighter shapes. They're called the Swing Cool Stabilos. I don't have one within arm's reach, or I would show you. I'll pop a picture up on the screen. But basically, they have the same ink as the Stabilos, which was the important thing for me because I love how the ink lays down nice and smoothly. But they are an easier shape that makes it easier for me to cram them into my stationery bag. And so this was me testing them all out. These are the colors that came with the Swing Cool set. And then these were the ones that came in the Chunky Boy set that I bought a while back. And the asterisk on them is this color does not exist in the other set. And so I was like, okay, well, unfortunately, these three colors only come in the Chunky Boy colors. So I'm going to have to carry these around with me anyway, because these are three of my favorite colors from this set. So I still carry a few of the Chunky Boys around, but most of them I also have in both shapes now. So I can keep the Chunky Boys at home in my little studio, and I can carry the thin boys around with me, and they're easier to carry in my bag, and so I like them. Also, I've got some of these fluorescents, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to use those because I like a lighter color highlighter for my sketching. I was having Magnus Archive thoughts, and that's all I'm going to say about this page. I also wanted to try using glitter marker on top of some black. I feel like once you listen to the Magnus Archives, every character you make, you have to try and assign them what entity they would either ally themselves with or be a victim to. And let's be honest, Lapis is absolutely eye-coded. She would 100% like be an avatar of the eye. I'm not sure what Laz would be. I don't feel like Laz would be an avatar of any entities. I feel like they're definitely a victim of the web, though. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Laz. Uh-oh, baby. Uh-oh. That's ominous as fuck. What does that mean? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, just a little scene. So the third chapter of Lapis's arc of Aza Mirage has been such a pain to write. I wrote like 5 unfinished drafts just trying to get Lapis and Storm's meeting to go even a little bit the way I wanted it to. And Lord knows, I'm probably going to have to rewrite it like 15 more times before I even get close to satisfied. So I was like, I just need to draw this out. But it's been the bane of my existence for so long. I, as of yesterday, when I'm recording this, finally got a finished draft done. And it's bad, but I don't care. It's done, which means I can move on with my life. Oh my God. This page was drawn at a little comics meetup, and I was helping a friend kind of figure out the design for a character. I was like, he should look like a used car salesman. What if he had like a big coat, but what if he wore it on his shoulders and he's an old ass man and he's stinky and you should kill him? And so that's that character. I will not reveal who this is, but y'all will eventually find out in time, I'm sure. Eventually, maybe someday. While I was at that same comics meetup, you ever fuck up and accidentally swallow an entire Ritz cracker whole? Yeah, it wasn't pleasant. I will tell you that much. Sometimes your body just does things against your will, and you are powerless to stop it, and then you have to spend a few minutes just trying to catch your breath, and then your throat's fucked up for like 2 days because it scratched your throat all the way down. Just one cracker ruins your entire day. I'm glad I didn't choke. I'm glad I didn't make a scene and have to have somebody do the Heimlich on me. I told the organizer later what happened because she was coming around talking to people. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm having a normal one. I did almost choke earlier. And she was like, oh, well, thanks for not dying. And I was like, yeah, you got it. No problemo. I didn't die. Achievement unlocked. Didn't die. And then I've just got some more doodly doodles. So in universe, Leon does own like a little coffee shop, and I feel like this man would not only be addicted to like really weird sugary coffee concoctions, he would also get Laz addicted to them, because I feel like Laz grew up in a weird cult. I feel like they probably wouldn't have had like really sugary sweet stuff, and then when they discover it, they're like, holy fuck, I never want to drink anything else. And so this is how Laz does get addicted to pumpkin spice lattes. Pumpkin spice frappuccinos, probably just the excess of sugar, I think, is very fun, considering their personality is kind of grumpy. But then you have like would that be Gap Moe? I don't know, but they just really like sugary sweet drinks, and I don't know, I think it's funny. This was me trying to draw just some more pen doodles. What makes me kind of grumpy is that when I sketch with highlighter and then use fountain pen on top of them, the color kind of bleeds a little bit, and that makes me grumpy. But I still like sketching with highlighter, and I still like inking with these, and I'm fighting them, and I'm trying to figure it out. And so this was me kind of experimenting with some different eye shapes for Laz. I don't like this page very much, but it's fine. It's yellow and pink, it's cute. And then we have some Leons down here. I just wanted to draw my man. I remember specifically, this was like the night before I left for Lightbox, and I was all done packing, and I was just like, it was like 8 o'clock, and I'm like not ready to get ready for bed yet. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna draw several pages of Leon and have him be a silly little guy. And so that's what I did, is I just drew him being a silly little guy, and I love him. Don't worry about what's happening on this page. Don't even worry about it. I'm just concepting some stuff. And then this, I feel like, is Leon's whole personality kind of wrapped up in one thing. Never underestimate the power of a home-cooked meal. Learned that a long time ago, and it hasn't failed me yet, because he's just like, you know what? You seem fucked up. Let's get some food in you, and then maybe we can have a conversation. And it works on Laz, and it works on everybody else. And I love that for him. He's Captain Hospitality, and he's cute, and he gets Laz addicted to sugary substances. But that's not his fault. It's not his fault. He's just trying to be helpful. And then just some little comics down here. This was more just like potential future scenes, just me brainstorming kind of how they met, is that Laz was having a moment and tried to stab Leon, and then it just didn't work. And then Laz was just like, what the fuck? Why didn't that work? But also I'm in the middle of a panic attack and everything's fucked up. And so then this next bit would be later. Just I kind of wanted to concept how this conversation between them would go when they finally actually have a chance to talk about, hey, can we talk about what happened here? And they're just talking. I don't know. One of my favorite ways to do little character explorations is to just draw them talking to each other. I am a comic artist through and through, and I just want to draw characters interacting and having conversations and thinking about how their dialogue would go. I like it. I like it. I don't know if you guys can tell that I like making comics. Did you guys know this about me? I know. It's shocking, right? So this, from here on, everything for the rest of the sketchbook was drawn while I was traveling for Lightbox. So I drew these while I was waiting for the plane, and then realized very quickly that I had 3 of my favorite type of brush pens, and I grabbed one on my way out the door, and I just happened to grab the only one that was running low on ink. And it was upsetting for the entire weekend. It wasn't a huge deal. I was just like, no, my beloved big ink brush pen, my love. Because that's my favorite one to like ink my little doodles with. Like all of these were inked with those pens. And it's just, I love my little brush pen, and I just didn't have it for the whole weekend, and I was sad. So most of these I ended up inking with microns instead, which are okay. But I like being able to have my pen pressure variants. I was hoping to get to LA a little bit earlier in the afternoon so that I could go to this meetup, and then our flight got delayed because they had to change a part on our plane, and like they got us all on the plane, and then they had to make us get off the plane, and then we had to wait for 2 hours, and then we had to get back on the plane, and then when we got back on the plane, the airplane Wi-Fi kept breaking, and I was trying to watch How to Train Your Dragon, one of my favorite movies of all time, and the Wi-Fi kept like making it buffer, and it was a bad flight on the way there. I drew a Toothless from memory. He's a little scuffed, but it's fine because I love him. How to Train Your Dragon, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it very much. Again, just thinking about some more scenes. This is some Laz being introspective. This is kind of a conversation that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I wanted to actually put it in my sketchbook. I drew some mountains out the plane window, and then I drew some Leons, and then I was like, what if I straightened his hair? What if he was wet? Don't take that out of context. Don't take that out of context, but what if we got his hair wet and just all of his little flibby doos just went some more comics from Lightbox. Jet lag is a butt, and when you're used to waking up early in Central Time, and then suddenly you're on West Coast time, you're waking up at 4 a.m. and then you can't get back to sleep. So I just laid awake and browsed the internet on my phone until my mom woke up. So that was the thing. And then the first morning, the con didn't start until like noon. And so my mom and I went driving around to like look at what Pasadena looks like and get coffee and things like that. We were just kind of joking about it. And he's like, oh, look at that tiny little house over there. Probably cost $1 million. I also, the morning before the first day of Lightbox, I was so sad about not having my brush pen. I went to this itty bitty little like local art store that was right across the street from our hotel. And I bought a bunch of art supplies that I did not need, but I also bought this cool pen. It's called a Molotov, it's like a chisel tip pen, and it's a permanent marker, which means that it does not smudge when you put highlighter on top of it. And so a lot of my doodles from this weekend were done. You can kind of tell that this is like a weird chisel tip. If you ever see drawings in my sketchbook with like weird pen pressure, kind of like this, I was drawing them with my new chisel tip marker and having a blast. Like these were done with my chisel tip marker. I was just having a fun time playing around with how funky you could make the line widths, because like the very thinnest line width, if you just like use the very point of the chisel tip, could get really, really thin, but then it could also get really, really thick if you use just like the full width of the chisel. It was fun. I was having fun. This was on the very first day. Like when I was getting packed, I was like, wow, it's gonna be cooler in California. I should make sure to bring a jacket. And then you actually get to the convention, it's hot as balls. And so I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna need a jacket. I needed it at points throughout the weekend, but not while I was in that exhibit hall, because my goodness. And then this was just a silly thing that happened. I went by the Netflix animation booth and they had a whole bunch of different little freebies. And one of the things that they were handing out were like these weird little cylinders. And I was like, but it was sealed. There was like a piece of tape keeping it closed. And I was like, what the heck is this weird cylinder? It just says Netflix animation on it. Like they were also, handing out like pens and itty bitty sketchbooks. It's just like, is this weird tube? Maybe it's an eraser? It's not. It was chapstick. So now I just have Netflix animation branded chapstick in my purse. I could probably find it and show it to you. So yeah, I kind of fucked it up getting it out of the tube. But it's just Netflix Animation Studios. And it's chapstick. I haven't used it. I think it's funny that this is a thing that I have now. Okay. And then I was hanging out with June, actually Ray, and their team for a lot of the convention. We were just hanging out, we were vibing. And so we actually went to dinner together on the first night, and they drew some Leons for me. And then they gave me an Apollo stamp, and he's a little silly, but I like him, he's funny, pink. And then there was some extra space, so I drew this up here, and I want to talk about a little bit what this drawing means. So when I was growing up, when I was in like grade school, I didn't have many friends who were artists. And one of my main friends, who is also an artist, we each had our own sketchbooks. And she loved to do this thing where she would sneak into my sketchbook when I wasn't looking. And she would like vandalize my drawings a little bit. And then I would be, like, haha, we're doing a silly game. And I would go in there like, very lightly with pencil. I would draw like devil horns on her little characters. And she would get really, really pissed at me. And this was not a good friend. In retrospect, this was a very bad friendship. But it just kind of made me skittish about like ever drawing in someone else's sketchbook or anyone else drawing in my sketchbook, and that affected me for years. Like even when I was in art school, and we would sometimes do collabs, but I usually wouldn't do it in my sketchbook. I would like draw on other people's if they handed them to me. But for the most part, it's like my sketchbook was my sketchbook and other people's sketchbooks were other people's sketchbooks, and that was kind of how it always was. And then I just didn't keep a sketchbook for like 10 years. And one of the cool things about, just like getting more friends, like these days I've been trying to find more art friends that I can hang out with in person. And just whenever I meet new artist friends, I just like draw something in my sketchbook, please. And then it's just like a little snapshot of just like, I get a special piece of their art to carry around with me forever. And I like it. I like that now. I'm going to get more people to draw in my sketchbook from now on. I appreciate that. I like it. Nature is healing. And so these were from the next day. I kind of doodled these while I was at a panel. I'm trying to think about like little channel mascots for what my audience would look like. You know how like VTubers and stuff will sometimes have little audience mascots? I feel like I kind of want it to be a little bird or something, like a starling, but I don't know. I'm not good at designing mascots. Give me your input, folks. And then these were some stickers that I got. This one was from June. It's holographic. It's from their panel. Oh, that shows up much better on camera than it does in real life. And then this one I got from Chi. It's a little tiger friend, and I love him. And then this one I got as a freebie off someone's artist booth. I don't remember the name of the artist. I will see if I can find it. And then these were some more doodles I did during that panel. Just some more, just like, like little conversations with Storm, just retrospectives. I was thinking about some VTuber outfit design. I was doing some doobly-doos. I was thinking more about Laz as a stray cat and just like trying to bite people. And then Leon's just like, hey, stop it. And then, well, if Laz is a stray cat, then I have to draw them cat ears, surely. And then, so then I drew this. And then this is just like an actual scene that's probably going to be in the book, is that Storm pretends to play the violin. He cannot actually play the violin, but he has magic that lets him make the sound of him playing violin. He basically does air guitar, but on violin. The problem is that he holds it wrong. And so I drew him he like holds the bow in like his fist. And he does it like this. And if you've ever played violin, or if you've seen anyone play violin, you probably know that that's not correct. It's just very funny to me. This is a whale. Okay. Yes, and so these are some more friend doodles. While I was vibing and hanging out, I was like, hey, draw something in my sketchbook. And I was just like shoving it at people. So Wisp drew these for me. This is, I believe, some of their OCs. This one's name is Tristan, I believe. I didn't get this guy's name, but he's cute. And then this was a sticker that Joanimations gave me. I went and stopped by their booth and we talked about comics for a little bit. I stole this one from a marker booth. I was just like, I was going around and I was finding all the freebie stickers and I was just like, yoink, that's mine. Yoink, that's mine. And then I asked Chi to draw a tiger for me, so they drew a little star-shaped tiger. And I was like, oh, he's a friend. Oh, I love it. I love it. I keep looking at this page. The colors are so cute. I love that he's star-shaped and I love his little face. Okay, and so at Lightbox, June and their team were doing a panel outside on Saturday, and they were going to pass out some freebie markers for people to try out and play with. And so I was just kind of vibing and hanging out with them before the panel started and like, helping set up, helping watch people's bags and things. And then at some point, Caden comes over to me and is like, hey, Star, can you help pass out the markers? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And so they had a whole bunch of people just like sitting on this big stairwell right outside the main convention center. And we were just like, I think the only way we're going to be able to get the people in the back is just to throw these markers at people. And so there is footage that exists of me just yeeting markers into the crowd. And most of them got caught. Some of them did smack a few people in the face. And if that was you, I do apologize. But also, you're welcome for the markers, I guess. Oops. We were all talking after the panel, like all of us who were throwing markers into the crowd and just being like, okay, so how many people did you hit in the face? Oops. Oops. It was fun though. I had a blast. Thank you guys for letting me throw markers at strangers. Thank you. I had fun. Okay, so this one's gonna require some explanation. So one of the reasons that I got to go to Lightbox at all was because I was waffling on whether or not I was gonna go, because if I was gonna go, I was probably gonna end up going by myself, and then I'd have to pay for the hotel and all the Ubers and all the food, and it would go by myself and it'd be really expensive. And so then my mom was like, well, one of my sisters, one of my aunts, lives in LA, and then one of my mom's other sisters lives in Oklahoma. And so she was like, well, we haven't been to California since you were really little. So what if we use this as an opportunity? I'll come with you. We can share a hotel room. And then when you're at the convention, I can just hang out with my sisters all weekend. And so that's kind of what we ended up doing, is while I was at the con, I was hanging out with friends, doing some draws, having a great time. But then in the evenings, I would hang out with my mom and my aunts. And one of the things we wanted to do while we were there is one of my cousins who lives in LA actually works at a strip club. She is one of the dancers. And so she loves it. I want to be very clear here. There's absolutely no shade from any of us in the family about what her job is. Like, she loves it. She, like, her whole life revolves around it, basically. And all of us love that for her. And she really, really wanted us to come visit and watch her perform while she was there. And so your girl went to her very first strip club, the Lightbox weekend, on Saturday night so I could see my cousin perform. And I will go ahead and say this now. The place she works at is a bikini bar. There is no nudity. There is no touching. So we did not see any bits. But I was like, well, okay, I am not the target audience for this strip club. So what if I just brought my sketchbook and I just did a whole bunch of life drawings of all the dancers doing like crazy poses? And so that's what I did, is I ended up sitting in the front because my relatives were like, you should sit in the front where you can get a really good view. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. So I was sitting up like right at the edge of the stage and I was drawing the whole time. And you know, when the dancers were finished, they were coming around and like collecting all the money that got thrown at them. And they kept being like, you are barely paying attention to us. You're drawing something and you're just like barely looking at us. Cause I was like, you know, I was looking at my drawing and I was looking up at them, trying to like take a little snapshot while they were standing still for a few minutes, like a mental snapshot, and then trying to replicate it in my drawing. I was just like looking up, and I'm so asexual if you had not figured this out already. And so my mom kept joking. It's like, yeah, they were really trying to get your attention and you were just so focused on your drawing the whole time. And I was tipping them. I will be very clear. I was being polite. I was throwing my dollar bills when I needed to. But people were just like, they would end their numbers and being like, what are you doing over here? So just over the course of the night, for the whole like 3 hours we were there, the dancers kept coming over and being like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm drawing you. Do you want to see? And so we just kept joking because like my mom and my relatives were sitting at a table behind me and they were just like, yeah, Star did not belong there at all, but she was the most popular person in that room that night. And they were making fun of me, but I filled 16 pages of my other sketchbook with cool little life drawing studies, and I was having a blast and I had a great time and it was a lot of fun. And so then I drew some other comics. Like they had these giant heels, like these big boots with like these huge like 4-inch heels on them, but they kept like clapping them together and like slamming them on the floor to make a really loud noise. And there was like this railing, like this low railing, so that they would kind of to separate the performers from the audience. And they would hit the shoes on the railing. And one of my other cousins, Steven, was like sitting with me. And I was like, do people ever get kicked in the face when they do that? And he's like, oh yeah, all the time. Some people pay extra to get kicked in the face. And I'm like, you know what? I don't doubt it. And then this is him teasing me. He's like, you're a great wingman because all the dancers keep coming over to talk to you. I need to start taking you everywhere with me. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can't afford one of those $1 billion houses, my guy. So, this was the next day. I was very tired because we had stayed out late. And then I had to wake up early to go to the con. I drew these while I was listening to a panel. I drew some Hamtaros from memory because I bought a Hamtaro print at the con, and then I was just thinking about Hamtaro. And fun fact, if you have not seen that video that I made several years ago about how I got banned from drawing, I can blame Hamtaro for the reason that I am still an artist. Because when I got banned from drawing humans in 5th grade, I could still draw hamsters, and so I drew nothing but Hamtaro-style hamsters for like 2 years. I have a whole video about that. I'll just let you guys go watch that. But there's some star lore for you. And I drew some Felixes. Yeah. And then these were some more conversations I had throughout the weekend. This was a conversation I had with a guy at like a pen booth that was handing stuff out, and he made this one joke. He's like, oh, well, actually, that traditional art piece, yeah, that was actually drawn with AI. And he was trying to be funny, but my first and only response was, you talk like that around here, you're gonna get your ass beat. But I did get a free pen out of the conversation, so that was nice. And then this was a belated strip club comic. Because at one point one of the dancers had come over and wanted to take a picture of the drawings I had done of her. And while I was having this conversation, my cousin went up on the stage and I hadn't noticed because I wasn't paying attention. And my mom yelled at me from behind me and she's like, Starla, throw money at your cousin. And I was like, oh my God, okay. Just like very sheepishly, just like, sorry. Oh God, it was funny. Anyways, and then these are some comics. I did the rest of these. This was like in the airport on the way home. I had a nightmare about making lesson plans from back when I was a teacher. And then we ended up getting to the airport at like 7 a.m. because my mom was too scared of LA traffic because she can't see very well at night because she's old. And then I drew some Felixes. I tried testing her. I was like, well, what if she was a little deer girl, actually? She's a Mirage. She's like a shapeshifter. She could do that if she wanted. And I think she would take the opportunity to do some stuff that makes her cuter if she wanted. And then this was me just kind of like brainstorming some stuff, because one of the things about me is when I'm thinking of a magic system, I love to think about the limitations of a magic system. And so it's like, okay, well, I've got these characters who are shapeshifters. What would the limitation there be? Is like, could they only transform into humanoids, or could they also transform into creatures? I'm not 100% decided. This was mostly me just thinking about things. This was me thinking about some more character lore and just some other things. This is a really badly drawn dragon. One of the things I want to do is I wanted to get better at drawing creatures. I need to do some anatomy study for creatures. This was just another sticker bomb page. And then that is the last page of the sketchbook. These are just some little stickers I was either given or had sitting around. I stole these from the SCAD booth at Lightbox because I'm like, that's my alma mater. I'm going to steal a bunch of stickers. And then, so that is the last page, ended on October 26th is when I drew that. And then that is the end of the sketchbook. Yippee! So I hope you guys enjoyed that, but I'm going to go ahead and take it over to Narrator Star for the rest. Pow! Hello, it's me, voiceover star. Ooh. So that's all for the sketchbook tour, but special announcement! If you want a copy of this sketchbook to read through at your leisure, the digital scanned version is up in my store, and as a special treat for everyone who stuck around until the end, you can use the code LEON to get 30% off for the first 2 weeks after this video goes up. Get yourself a little treat. If you'd like to see sketchbook pages as I finish them, along with rough draft chapters of Aza Mirage, early cast-off pages, your name in the credits of my videos, and a whole bunch more, check out my Patreon. Support on Patreon helps keep the lights on and my kitties fed, and every little bit helps. Link for that is down in the description. Special thanks to my video shout-out tier patrons, Holly, Mr. Don Matsu, Leaf, Alyssa Herzog, and Neon Valkyrie for helping me afford more sketchbooks for my growing obsession. But that'll be all for this one. Fare thee well, friends, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!